So after about a week with this car, it's about time that I compare it to my Fiesta ST. So I'm going to compare these on three fronts: power, handling, and sound. I felt like this car was very slow, but we need to bear in mind that my Ford Fiesta ST was stage 2, it was running more power, and therefore felt quite a lot quicker. That's obviously the limitation of this engine. Affordable price, you're not making much more power at all, and this car is already mapped. The car felt slow, but it was very twitchy. So I got in it, and honestly controlling it was quite difficult. It felt like every time you put your foot down, you were about to be launched into space, and then you didn't really go anywhere. And I assume that's because you get natural instant power with naturally aspirated engines, and with the turbos you get a bit of lag. After a few days, I kind of learnt with this engine that you basically need to be in VTEC most of the time. So as you get into 4,500 RPM, because this is mapped for it to come in earlier, the car gets a little bit faster, and to make this car feel even remotely quick, you do need to stay in that high RPM all the time. And that's the thing that's really cool about this engine, is it wants you to be as high RPM as possible. And honestly, you're getting the best power band if you're up in the 6,000, 7,000 RPM range. So what about sound? Now, the Civic takes this every day of the week. It's an intoxicating sound. Now, it has got, I believe, just a back box delete actually. And as you get into those higher rev range, it sounds fucking awesome. And you bear in mind, this isn't a V8 we're talking about. This is, I think, a 2-litre engine. But you never really got that with the Fiesta, and to be honest, you never really wanted to rev the Fiesta out much. I always stayed quite low in the RPM, which I think was why it was kind of a bit of a strange transition from the Fiesta to this car. But I do like it. It encourages you to really push, and yeah, it's intoxicating. Now handling, which I know some people are going to be very interested in, and partly because apparently they made this car heavier, they ditched independent rear suspension when they came to the FN2, and therefore this car got a lot of complaints. So what do I think about the handling? Well, the first thing you notice with this car is how stiff it feels. Now, to be honest, it feels very planted, and one of the things I really didn't like about my Fiesta ST was it felt quite tall. I don't know if people kind of understand what I mean by that, but this car feels very low to the ground, it feels quite wide, and how it takes corners, it feels very planted. However, it also feels quite heavy, and that's the thing, I really noticed it yesterday when I pushed it around some B roads. You feel the weight in the corners, the grip doesn't feel as good, and honestly, the Fiesta seems to take corners at higher speed quite a lot better than this car. But it does handle quite well, it does turn quite well, and honestly, it feels very stable at higher speeds. Another thing just to add, both cars, probably due to their age, do feel a bit rattly, a bit like creaky, but I think that's to be expected on sort of older, I guess, economy cars.